Hello, everyone. Welcome to Developing Palates. I am Aaron Loomis, coming to you from the Ventura Cigar Company studio, and with me today is Jiunn Liu. How you doing, Jiunn?
Good.
So today we are talking about the Illusione Haut 10 Churchill. The cigar is 6 1/4 by 48 ring gauge. Comes out of the Tabsa factory in Nicaragua. Wrapper is Nicaraguan Corojo, and the binder and filler are both listed as Nicaraguan. Blended by Dion Giolito, and the price point is $16.95. The cigar was released in April of 2018. So with all that out of the way, Jiunn, what was your smoking experience like?
Um, the first few draws, I kind of, knowing that we experienced and reviewed the Halt 10 Toro from last year, I was expecting kind of that similar format of like giving a lot of flavors on all that strength. And that's what the first third exactly delivered for me. I got like ginger biscuits, cedar, a little bit of a grit filled earthiness. Retrohale is, I think, kind of this is kind of the cigar that demands a proper retrohale. Because without it, you kind of miss out on some of the deeper notes. Got a lot of rich nuttiness out of it, a lot of white pepper from the retro. Finish mainly that refined grit earthiness paired with cedar, strength and body, just medium throughout the whole time, and definitely no more than the medium. Within the second third, those flavors of the ginger biscuits and there's like a nice cream bread toast. It became really full for me. It's sometimes you smoke a cigar and you taste those notes, and it's so real that you feel like you're not smoking a cigar, you're actually like tasting those real things.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of how it felt like for me. When I retrohaled at that point, even more important as doing it with just still getting that like a lot of creaminess, nuttiness, white pepper spice. Finish becomes a little less earthy, replaced by like baking spices and a bread toast. Within the last third, it's basically similar to the second third, except the last like couple inches or so, the last third begin to highlight more spice for me, and it's more like minerals and spice driven. And I started getting some like intermittent like citrus fruits to it. In terms of construction, I rated it really well. I mean, burn was very good. Aside from like a flaky, flowery ashes, the burn was great. Cool burning temp, inch ash marks, relatively sharp burn line. In terms of draw, I rated it to be perfect. Just a matter of the right kind of airflow.
Yeah, for me, the cigar started out with a mix of aged wood and spicy cinnamon, about ½ inch in, a slight cream joined in to kind of smooth out that cinnamon a little bit, create a better balance with the wood. Further in, that aged wood still at the forefront. Cream and cinnamon were working well together in the background. Retrohale is a mix of wood and light cinnamon. And about 1 3/4 inches, cinnamon mellowed significantly as the aged wood up front. A little bit of cream kind of remained in the background, and strength was right at the medium mark. Getting the second third, a little bit of mustiness joined that aged wood, still a little bit of creaminess in the background, and the cinnamon had morphed into more of a kind of a mild general baking spice. About 1 inch in, that musty aged wood was still up front, some cream and very mild baking spice remaining in the background. A little further in, retrohale, a little bit more the musty aged wood. And as the third was coming to a close, profile was primarily that musty aged wood note with a little bit of cream in the background. Not really any baking spice to be found, and strength bumped up to medium. Final third, cream increases a little bit, kind of support that musty aged wood. A little bitterness joins in. About 1 inch in, the wood loses that aged note. Mustiness, cream, and bitterness kind of remain at their previous levels. And that's kind of how the cigar finished out. Strength got up to slightly above medium for me, but still, kind of right around that medium mark. In regards to construction, I thought it was really good. Burn line was a little bit wavy, didn't need any attention. Ash held on in 3/4 inch increments. And in regards to the draw, it was just a little bit tighter than I prefer, but it didn't cause any issues with the smoking experience. So overall, what were your thoughts on this one?
I like the cigar. It's it's in some ways similar to that Toro, right? So flavor focused as opposed to strength focused. I did find the Churchill to be sharper in flavors, and a bit less nuanced in the Toro. I After I reviewed this and I wrote my notes down, I went back and I looked at my notes for the Toro. And the main thing that I picked out was I felt like the Toro was kind of I feel like the flavors melded better together,
Hmm.
and it wasn't as sharp. Sharp, not in a bad sense, just a little bit of that extra to it, perhaps.
Right.
Flavors itself, I dug it. Really enjoy the flavor profile. Um, like I said earlier, you have to retrohale something like this. I mean,
Hmm.
in general, I think you should retrohale every cigar. You really don't get as much out of it until you retrohale a cigar. So,
Right.
this one definitely for sure. My personal taste like the Toro over this Churchill, but I still enjoy this, and I would absolutely smoke more of these. So.
Yeah, I wasn't the biggest fan of the Toro when we reviewed it, so I definitely enjoyed this one a lot more. Still didn't like blow me away. Like I understanding what you guys are talking about. Those that really love this cigar, it still doesn't do that for me like some of the other Illusiones do. So it's still not like I don't see this as the top of the line for Illusione, but definitely was a step up for me. Lots of aged wood, mustiness, cream, cinnamon, kind of baking spices later on in the profile. Construction is really good. For me, the final third was a bit of a drop down. I would have been okay just stopping after the second third and just kind of calling it a day and thinking it's a really good cigar. But the last third just kind of ran out of gas for me. But I think if you're a fan of the Toro, it's going to be a no-brainer to go after the Churchill, and I'm assuming the Gordo is going to be a somewhat similar profile. So interested to try that one as well. Price point's a bit high, but this is definitely a special cigar for the company, so it kind of carries a higher price point. But you get a really long smoking time from this cigar, so if you
Yeah.
really are enjoying the flavors, then it's definitely going to have some value to you. You're going to get, if you're an average kind of smoking time, you're probably going to get 2.5, 3 hours out of this thing. So you'll get a lot of a smoking experience. So going into the scores, June, you gave it an 8.13. I gave it a 6.57. How do you think that matched up with your experience?
Match well. I mean, I kind of, within the flavor profile, which is like the main thing to focus on with this guy. In the first third, I rated it to be good. The last couple of thirds to be very good. So, it took a little bit for it to ramp up to really hit its stride for me. But I really enjoyed it. But then again, I like the Toro one better. But this 813 is absolutely, I mean, even though it's early in the year, it'll be hard to not nail a top 25 spot for me for something like this.
Yeah. I mean, overall, I thought the flavor profile was good, except for the final third. I thought it was average in the final third. Construction is really good. Overall, I thought it was good. So that's kind of where it gets in that mid sixes. That's still a pretty good score for the way my scoring range. Um, it's possible that this makes a top 25. It's possible that it makes top 30. But I think it's a good cigar. It just in the Churchill format, Churchill is really a tough cigar to do well for it to last the entire smoking experience and keep you engaged. So, you know, um, I want to check out this Gordo now and kind of see what's going on. I'll see what that bigger ring gauge does with this profile. I'll be kind of just interested to see this because I don't remember what the Toro was. Was it a 50 ring gauge? Because I mean, we're just talking really small ring gauge changes here between the Toro and
Uh,
the Churchill.
I man, I don't remember. It's got to be 50 or 52, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah, I don't.
not much difference between ring gauge between these two, but the Gordo would be definitely a big change. So I'm curious if that how that would affect the profile. But I do have one question for you based on your flavor descriptors. What is a ginger biscuit?
Like a ginger snap cookie, something that's got.
Oh, okay. You say biscuit like a cookie. I gotcha. I
Yeah.
thought you meant like what white people think are biscuits.
Oh no. Like it's synonymous with like ginger snap cookies.
Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah.
You're taking the proper English term for cookie.
Yeah.
All right, gotcha. That makes sense.
What I meant to say was fortune cookie.
Okay, that would make sense. Did you have any other final thoughts on the cigar?
Um, it's I know these are different cigars, but nonetheless, they're categorized as like new Dion stuff, right? So that singular Torrent, I think that one was like $13 for that, like
Yeah.
big old cigar.
Yeah.
Man, that was so good, and for the better price,
Yeah, it's gonna be hard to
I
beat.
still think
Right?
that's good, like better than
Yeah.
this even.
Yeah.
But then again, like since I like the Toro better, yeah, like you, I'm curious to see what that Gordo one is going to be like.
Yep.
Um, may like it more. Who knows?
Yep.
We'll
Exactly.
find out.
All right. If you're just catching this video on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to us, but also check out the full written review on the website developingpalates.com. Be sure to follow us on all the social media channels: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Google Plus. And you can catch all of our review recaps on podcasts, so iTunes, Google Play, and Podbean. Thank you for tuning in, and we will catch you on the next one.